is currently meeting with leaders of the Limpopo provincial government. He's now addressing that gathering. Let's listen in.
Capable state that is well geared to address the other two key priorities that we have set ourselves as the 7th administration. On the one hand, this whole process enables the national government to have a better line of sight of provincial programs, of provincial challenges, of provincial needs. On the other hand, it enables provincial executives, councils to better align their developmental roadmap with national plans. This, in many ways, is an imperative that is mandated by our Constitution. The Constitution clearly enjoins all spheres of government and organs of state to provide governance that is effective, that is transparent, accountable, and more importantly, that is coherent, but that is clearly aimed at serving the needs of the people of South Africa. Section 41 of the Constitution outlines the obligation of different spheres of government and to cooperate with one another, to assist one another, to coordinate with one another, and to consult on matters of common interest. These spheres of government are required to do so while respecting the scope of their respective powers and functions. The Constitution furthermore provides for the establishment of structures and mechanisms to facilitate intergovernmental relations. It is our expectation that this engagement further opens up the space for meaningful intergovernmental relations. This is quite unprecedented, and it opens up the opportunity for much closer interaction between the two levels of government. And of course, the other levels of government can then also benefit local government, and I do believe that, for instance, the local government whose building we are in today will immediately see some spin-offs from all this. And the first spin-offs that they have already achieved without even doing anything at the Polokwane municipality, Polokwane city, is that the mayor has already been given accolades for leading a city that is clean. And Minister Thabisa, whose job is to go around all our cities, our towns, our municipalities, has already given a prize to Mayor Mpe for having a very clean city. So you can already brand your city, Polokwane city, as Polokwane, the city of cleanliness. So you get that prize for free today. Now, the achievement of synergy between national, provincial, and local development must be the impetus behind the district development model, which we introduced in 2019 under the 6th administration. Although we have seen notable progress under this new way of working, particularly with respect to the one plan model, we can and must even work better to spread the very good effectiveness of this model. The Government of National Unity has identified a set of priorities, as I was saying, for the term of its administration. These are driving inclusive growth and job creation, reducing poverty and tackling the high cost of living, and building a capable, ethical, as well as a developmental state. Our collective focus now must be on marshalling the necessary will and resources to finalize and implement the medium-term development plan. Driving economic growth that is inclusive and transformational is at the center of our national agenda. Provinces have a critical role to play in this effort. And improving service delivery and accelerating job creation and growing provincial economies are as much a priority for provinces as they are for national government. Now, what will be critical in the coming months is going to be a razor-sharp focus on the actions that we all need to take to enable provinces to leverage their respective endowments, be they avocados, be they minerals, be they citrus fruit rather, be they any key endowment that they have, to maximize and ensure that that endowment is more effectively utilized for economic growth. Provinces need to use their comparative advantages to drive economic activity. Already, Premier, you've already defined your province as being really good in certain areas, where you have said, we have this very good endowment, this very great attribute, and those need to be laid out from your human capital, the youth capability, the education standards, your minerals, your agriculture, and your special economic zones that are coming. And all those should stand you in good stead as a province. Now, we have provinces, for example, that have vast arable land, but because of underutilization of that land or slow land reform, their contribution to the agricultural output is far below their potential. The same can be said about areas such as tourism, an important and growing economic sector. The natural splendor of many, if not all our provinces, should be attracting far more tourism numbers. Some provinces are attracting large amounts of minerals, extracting rather, large amounts of minerals from the soil, but are not moving to the other level. They are the primary level. They need to start looking at the secondary level of beneficiating those minerals that they extract. And finally, they also need to look at the downstream. Are they able to move further to the downstream? And they need to ask themselves, what do we need to do to move from primary to secondary and to downstream? It should not forever just remain slogans where we just continue to talk about we need to industrialize, we need to beneficiate. Each of us, both at national as well as at provincial level, we need to ask ourselves important questions. And this, Premier, in many ways is what has brought us here, so that we have those focused discussions and we go beyond the noise, we go beyond slogans, and we go beyond ideological precepts, and we begin to crunch down and say, this is possible, this is what we can do, so that we can realize the full value of the endowments that our provinces have. This is the potential that we need to focus on. We need to move also beyond diagnosis of the problems that beset us. And believe you me, we have a lot of problems as a nation, as a province, but we now need to start lifting ourselves out of those problems and finding solutions. We need to look at how to overcome the obstacles to provincial endowments being successfully used for development. It is critical that we understand and that we work to resolve the structural challenges facing our provinces, our local governance, that are holding back investment and job creation. It is important that we ask ourselves what is holding us back. At national level, we have engaged with that conversation and have had to ask ourselves really deep and difficult questions. What is it that has been holding South Africa's economy from growing? And we have identified those areas that hold us back, and that is why we've embarked on the structural reforms that we've embarked on. Electricity was one key one that held the entire country back. We've now gone through 230 days. Minister Dr. Ramaphosa is here, who can give us the full details of the work that he has been doing. And we are grateful that load shedding is now becoming more and more history, and it's becoming a shadow of the past that we can look at behind us. That was holding us back, and we still need to do quite a lot of work, but we have started the reform work of our electricity architecture with regard to generation and transmission and distribution. So we have, having realized that, we attended to it. The logistics sector is another area that is holding us back with regard to exporting the products that we make in our country or we produce. It does not only affect mining, it also affects agriculture. Our farmers, as they produce their produce right from Limpopo here, right through to take those products to the sea and overseas, requires a really good logistical infrastructure, and that has been hamstrung. So it's something that we are now addressing it together with other key role players, labor, the private sector, and we are harnessing those capabilities that they have, their money, their skills, and their innovation and their knowledge. And another area, of course, that has been hamstringing us is in water. And I'm sure that in the course of the day, you are going to tell us about the challenge that you have in this province on water. It's an overarching problem throughout the country, for both water for our communities as well as water to be used for productive purposes in our factories, in our mines, and in our industries. So water is another problem, and we've had to introduce real serious structural reforms where it used to take 3 years for people to get water licenses to utilization in manufacturing and in industry, just to make sure that their operations work well and they can create jobs. That used to take us 3 years. We've now brought it down to 3 months. And of course, the issue of crime has been a major area that we need thorough and deep-going reforms, which we are working on corruption as well. So the reforms that we've had to embark upon, which we noticed at national level, are what is now the program of the Government of National Unity. But what I'd like you to do at the provincial level is to begin to sit back and ask ourselves, what is it that is holding us back as a province from moving ahead and generating growth, so that your growth here, economic growth here in the province, goes beyond 0.5%. it goes to a higher level so that we can boost growth in the province. It requires the very difficult conversations that we also had at national level. But it also requires that we harness the various role players in the province. You can either mirror what we are doing at the national level, or you can craft a process of your own premier and set up work teams, task forces that will look at every niche in our province. What is it that is